We're talking to Joel Klatt, lead college football analyst for Fox Sports. All right, Joel, this game between Northwestern and Ohio State, all of the focus, all of the attention has been on Ohio State. Northwestern's kind of there like waving their hand saying, hey, guys, we're here too playing for the Big Ten title. They are substantial underdogs. What would they need to do to pull off the win?
Oh, man. They would have to have, I think they would have to have 4+ turnovers and a special team score. And one of those turnovers would have to result in immediate points, a scoop and score, pick six, something along those lines. I think that would make it a one possession game, and then you could flip a coin late. But without some drastic plays like that, I just don't see them lining up. I mean, this is an Ohio State team that just last year beat this Northwestern team 52-3. And I know It was not a good Northwestern team last year, but as well as Northwestern has played defensively, they have not seen anything near what they're about to see on the offensive side for Ohio State. The firepower that they've got offensively, I think, is second only to Alabama in college football, and Fields is, I think, on a bit of a mission. So I think it could be a long night for Northwestern. But again, if they're able to create turnovers, which they have during the course of the season, they've done a really nice job of creating turnovers. I think they got like 12 interceptions so far in their limited number of games. So they could potentially do that, but that's what it would take.
Are you as impressed as I am at the fact that the Big 12, the ACC, and the SEC are all three going to be able to manage to get out there unquestioned champions? When everybody was talking about how crazy and difficult this was going to be and how much, how insanely crazy it might be to even play the game, we're now talking about the SEC potentially, knock on wood, playing 70 out of their 71 scheduled games. The Big 12, whether it's Oklahoma or whether it is Iowa State, which is a heck of a story, by the way, is going to manage to crown a champion. And the ACC probably has as good, probably their best championship game that has ever existed. When you think about all of those things happening and also fans being present for ACC, Big 12, SEC games, I got to tell you, I think this might be the best accomplishment that we have ever seen in this situation, right? Like just in college football in general.
Not only that, but I would go a step further, and I know I always do this, but we have seen, at least to our knowledge, and I ask people constantly, to our knowledge, we haven't seen much less many, but a severe case amongst players in college football. We saw the Miami player, and forgive me because his name is escaping right now, but he was diagnosed with the myocarditis, which, by the way, we hope everything goes well for him. And thankfully, this is something that we were screening for. And again, all the health protocols and everything that they're working. Because myocarditis, the most dangerous aspect of this is when it goes undiagnosed. And if diagnosed, it's highly treatable. And so thankfully, we have only that one case within college football to date. And I think that in hindsight, and who knows how this is going to play out because it's become so political. But if we all try to just like erase our political lines and biases, which is hard, and I understand that that's hard, and we in hindsight look at this season, and maybe it will take some time. But Clay, I think that in hindsight, what we will learn or evaluate this season as is that patience and reason were rewarded.
Yeah.
And those conferences that were patient and behaved reasonably and not rationally, or not irrationally. Were rewarded not only with full seasons, but the ability to have some fans out there, retain some level of normalcy, and allow the competitions to take place for the student athletes who, by the way, and this always goes unsaid, opted in to this season. Every one of these guys have had the opportunity at any moment in time in this entire fall to say, you know what, this isn't for me. I don't want to do this. It's either too dangerous or I just am not feeling it. These guys want to compete. They want to go out there and play. They want to showcase their ability to do so, earn their scholarship, and potentially put tape out there so they can go to the next level and play this sport in the NFL. And these conferences, in hindsight, I think are going to come out not only looking good, but being in strong positions of leadership in the college football pantheon moving forward. And I just don't see how the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are going to have much say in the overarching governance of the sport when it comes to those college football playoff meetings and the like, when they clearly did things that hurt them at every single term. It was like one bad domino turned into a series of 75 bad dominoes for the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, which are now trying to jockey and say, like, well, who's going to be in our championship game? And we've got to change arbitrary rules. So I just go back to this. Patience and reason won the day this year in college football. And at some point, we're all going to be able to look back and agree on that.
Last question for you. How surprised were you to see on Sunday that Auburn had fired Gus Malzahn?
I am shocked that these schools have the appetite in a year in which they're going to lose, even with, sparsely attended games, even with, playing a full season or the better part of a full season in the SEC. They're going to lose substantial revenue, 40, 50%. And you're talking about buying out. I think the number's $21.5 million.
Yep, and he has to
more
get
and
he gets $10 million within
like
30 days.
2 months?
Within 30 days, I think it is.
This is insane. I get it that they didn't feel like he played well this year, but in a year like this, can you really evaluate anybody based on who you're losing from a COVID perspective on a week-to-week basis? You can't meet with your team. I think these decisions are absolute bonkers, both South Carolina and Auburn.
And Texas and Michigan, we'll see what all ends up happening there. Joel Klatt, I appreciate the time. We will talk to you next week. Enjoy calling the game. We'll be watching on Saturday.